My favorite thing is when someone gives me the theory behind something and it sounds so cool and wonderful, but then they also give me actionable tips that I can follow that are really simple. So today I thought I would share with you 5 simple things that I do to make our homeschool days better. Hello, I'm Christine. I'm a second-generation homeschooling mama of 3 kiddos, and I just love to share homeschool content with you all. So if you want more of that, please go ahead and subscribe. I have a ton of homeschool content on here. You can always go to my channel and search things up if you're curious if I have talked about it before, and you'll find it there. But today I wanted to just share with you 5 tips that genuinely help our homeschool days to run a lot more smoothly. When I am homeschooling 3 children, it is a juggling act. It is hard work. They're ages 10 and then they're almost 9 and 7 years old. And although they're close in age, it's still a lot of hard work. They still have individual subjects that they're working on. 2 out of 3 of them still require reading curriculum, so I'm having to be one-on-one with that. And I do still teach all 3 of them their math. So it's a lot of hard work. It's a juggling act. And we all know as homeschooling moms that homeschooling is just one of the things that we do. And there's a whole lot else that we have to do. I, for one, work. I have work outside of homeschooling, but also I am the homemaker. And so there's a lot that goes into that. Essentially, all 3 of those things can be full-time jobs in and of themselves. So we have to be really intentional about what we're doing. And that's why I have some things that make a big difference to our homeschool day in particular. First up, I'm looking at my phone because I've written things down. Preparation. Hence why I wrote things down, so I can be prepared to share this video. Preparation is a huge part of our homeschool day running successfully. People talk about open and go curriculums, and there's a reason why people like them. It's because we consistently get things done well when we can just sit down and do them. So when you have little ones, it's really important that we don't lose their attention. And if you are having to dash off to grab this or you haven't grabbed that, the lessons just fall apart in my experience. That is what happens to us. So being prepared makes a huge difference. And there are some ways that I do this. I plan. I am a planner. I don't plan a whole year at a time. I have an idea of what the year is going to look like and then plan 6 weeks at a time. And that works really well for us. But for those 6 weeks, I make sure that we have all our printables that we needed printed out. I have our day-to-day schedule planned out, and I have like our lesson plans all done so that I can just transfer them into my planner each week, and that works so well. And then the other thing that I do is I lay out all of our schoolwork the night before. And this is only something I've done recently, like this year, because before that we were always using our dining room table and we needed that space for breakfast in the morning. And so I wasn't able to lay out all our books. But this year I have been able to do that in our new space that we're homeschooling in. And I like to lay out everything. The kids have all of their workbooks laid out. I have our group subjects ready to go so we can just sit down on the couch and read together. And I really like that because it means that in the morning I'm not having to like stop and get that ready. It's just ready to go. And it also means that if my older kids want to just sit down and start working before I'm ready in the morning, they can do that. So that helps me immensely. Planning, I have to always caveat it because there are people who just seem so, I don't know, the idea of a schedule is just so awful to them. But guys, if you have an intentionally curated schedule that has flexibility and margin built into it, it is life-giving, okay? It is not life-sucking. It doesn't make you a slave to it. It just empowers you. It takes the mental load away. It is so good. So don't knock it before you try it. Please, I will be an advocate for schedules forever because they are so life-giving to our home. You can still go with the flow and have a schedule, believe it or not. Flexibility, margin, build those in. They're fantastic. The next thing that we have is a simple chore routine. I have tried many systems over the years, and I have found both with like chores and also reward systems as far as kids' behavior and stuff, I just don't like anything complicated. I can't keep track of it, okay? I can't remember if he's like done 5 good things and 2 not so good things, and I give a sticker for that and I take one away for I can't, okay? And the same applies to chore charts, and I don't like anything complicated. So the way that we have figured it out at this point, they have morning chores that they know need to get done. They have a chore chart on the refrigerator, and it tells them, it's simple: unpack the dishwasher, tidy up your bedroom. If it's their laundry day, bring down their laundry. And if they've got like days for feeding the pets, and so they'll feed their pet on their day. And they have to obviously get themselves dressed and everything in the morning. So simple, straightforward things. They know what to do. It's so simple that I don't have to be there to direct it. But the other thing that I did recently, I shared this with a friend because I found that some of my kids were not getting things done. And then I didn't have time in the morning to check that they were doing the things because I was busy doing my things, is an accountability partner. So now their siblings check on them to make sure that they've done their chores. Siblings tend to be a little bit harder as well, I find, than the parent. I'm like, we're busy. Like, come on, we'll get to it. Siblings are like, nah, you didn't pick that up off the floor. And so that's worked really well in our home, is just having a really simple chore schedule to keep on top of things. We also have it as a rule that at the end of the day, they get screen time at the end of the day, like in the late afternoon. Before they go out and play or anything, they have to pick up everything in the downstairs area and do a quick pickup. And then once a week, they have to clean their bathrooms. The kids have their bathroom and they clean that. And they also have to do a deep clean of their bedrooms. When I say deep clean, I mean like dusting surfaces and picking everything up so I can get in there and vacuum, or the older kids will vacuum the room themselves. But it's simple. It's real simple. I don't do rewards for it. This is like basic housekeeping stuff. There are things they do earn money for, but it's not that. The 2 things I've currently got my kids earning money for, my son does the lawns and he earns money for that, and my daughters iron all the pillowcases. When we change the linens, they iron the pillowcases and fold them and put them away, and they both get paid for doing that. So that's how it works in our home, and I found that to be extremely helpful. Next up is a predictable routine. And I know I already sort of spoke about this, having a schedule, but truly, I think this is where people miss the mark. They think that kids will push back against having boundaries. The reality is it is so helpful, and you will end up having less pushback. Because think about it. When you're in the middle of an activity and you have no idea what's coming next, and someone just randomly pulls you out of things, it takes you a while to adjust and you don't like it. None of us just like that, being pulled out of something that we were engrossed in and concentrating on. And children are no different. They like predictability. They like to know what's coming next. And when you instill that in your home, you ultimately get less pushback, because they just know this is the next thing on our routine. This is the next thing that's coming. It just has been such a blessing in our home. I don't have to constantly chase up my kids to do all of the things, because they know what is coming next. They know that these are, the subjects that we're going to be covering today in our school. They know that this is the time that we pick up the house. They know that this is the time that it's bath time and, we prep for dinner, and et cetera, et cetera. So if you don't have a rhythm in your home that is consistent, that your kids can sort of rely upon and depend upon, I really do encourage you to work on that, especially with really little ones, before even the academic stuff. I'm actually not somebody who's anti-academics at a young age if your child is ready for it, but I think more importantly is working on establishing rhythm and routine, and then bringing in the academics, instead of a child having to struggle with 2 plus 2 on top of like, when are we doing the 2 plus 2? They know, okay, this is the time we sit down and we do school. Okay, now I know that already. I don't have to think about it. I just know I'm doing that, and now I can sit down and my brain can be engaged on learning what's put in front of me. Your rhythm's not gonna look the same as ours, and that is totally fine. It could be a lot more loosey-goosey than ours. I know that there are people who have much stricter routine than we do. Find what works for you, and I encourage you to try it. Number 4, meal planning. If it's not planned out, it doesn't get done. I don't know why I am like that, but I just really struggle with motivation and discipline if I don't plan ahead of time. If it is written down for me, I will do it. And so it's a lot easier. I actually have a whole month of meals planned out, and I just pick from those each week. It makes grocery shopping a lot quicker too, especially when you're doing it online. And it means that at the end of the day, when my energy is spent, because I tell you it is after I've homeschooled 3 children, I don't have to think, what are we having for dinner? I already know. And it also means I can quickly look and see, okay, this is what we're having for dinner. So I can send one of the kids to get whatever out of the freezer that we need for dinner that night. It can defrost and be ready to go. So again, it's just like one thing that I do every couple weeks, and it simplifies our days so much. So if you're not meal planning, you don't have to meal plan everything. Have done like lunch meal plans a little bit for the kids. I don't meal plan breakfast because we just have a variety of things available every day. Our breakfasts are very simple, but dinner is something I always meal plan. And again, it's not strict. Sometimes I don't feel like eating that night, so I'll switch it with something else. But it's written down and I can quickly refer to it, and it actually makes our homeschool day simpler because I can focus on that instead of my mind being wandering and thinking, what are we gonna have for dinner? And then finally, a comfy space. Work on curating a homeschool space that isn't focused on making it beautiful. You know, like it may just come from that inherently, but work on having a space that is comfortable for you and your kids. That's what we did this year. I ended up moving our space into our living room where we've got a fireplace, and it made homeschooling through winter so much more pleasurable because we were warm and cozy and comfortable. We could sit on the couch and read books together, and we also had a table to work at, and that was just such a blessing. Our computer was right there, so the kids needed to do computer work. It was like in an open space where I could see everything that's on the computer. It just worked so beautifully because I worked hard to make this space like that. So if you haven't already done that, to the best of your ability, try and make your homeschool space somewhere comfortable for your family that works well for your family. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing with their homeschool space. Just do what works for you. Those are my 5 things that I have done that really do make our homeschool day more simple, easier, and they're not very challenging things to do. If you work on doing just one thing at a time and build up to all 5, it really will make a difference to your homeschool day. I hope you enjoyed it. Share with me any tips you have down in the comments below. I would love to hear them, and I will see you next time. Bye.